Alright everybody, there we go, and as you can see there's some cosplay going on right here, and I'm already regretting it. This is a rather warm coat, but I think it goes best with the intended look. And because of how hot it is and how hot it will become, I expect, over the course of the show, this is going to be a shorter banter. I'm planning to do about 90 minutes of it and then call it quits, because as a friend told me, I think yesterday, maybe today, the way to compensate for something is just sort of do double the other in the other direction. And I think we've established that 2 hours 30 is bad, and in order to compensate for this, today we will do 1 hour and 30, and this will even out eventually. Anyway, I should have prepared like slightly more, and I feel like there should be voices to go with this look, but they are not really ready yet. Anyway, let's switch to the actual gameplay, and let's see what we have in terms of challenges. No. Someone told Peter that Jan also does 50 minutes a long time ago, and I was not convinced. But all of the 2.5 hour streams just kind of they're doing my head in, and also, well, Latvian Gambit playing the Latvian Gambit against me. That's very authentic. Also, I have to say that. I think maybe I'm even supposed to start with knight c4 here, but it looks artificial. Yeah, and if he's chasing the knight away, I'm very happy. Just go there in two moves. But actually, I'm thinking if I actually had to go knight c4, knight e3 to preserve the idea of going c2, c4. Yeah, and this is probably where I do this. Yeah, I can't whistle even. And then I say this horse just won't listen. But yeah. None of this really works properly, I have a feeling. Yeah, the knight does not belong on c3 here with the pawn on c2. This was a very large misplay, I feel. And I already don't really like my position, to be honest. But there you go. Yeah, strategically, the horse is supposed to be on b1 so that we can undermine this central setup by playing c4 first, putting the pressure on the d5 pawn, and then the entire setup makes a lot more sense. I mean, I shouldn't be worse, but I am most assuredly not better here. I quite like this move actually, because I was planning to play queen d3 next move, and now black has knight b4 as a reply, and also the knight is headed towards c7 and e6, but I think maybe I will kind of ask him to play knight b4, because I think knight b4 queen e2 I end up winning like half a tempo there, because the knight will eventually have to go back, and I have gained like half a square with this But queen c7 is also quite smart. I don't want to play g3 and give him the h3 square. I actually probably have to play h3 here. But then I have to watch very, very carefully so I don't blunder something like knight h5 and bishop h2 check and knight g3, which will be kind of lethal here. Inspect a gadget couture. No, I don't think this is. If anything, I'm kind of shooting for the RDR2 look here, or at least that was the intended outcome. I'm not sure if I'm succeeding. Queen b6 is kind of tricky. I was wondering if I can play knight a4 here. It might win a piece, but I also might get mated. This is not appealing to me. Don't really want to get mated. Black is doing really excellently well here. There's no real reason for him to worry about anything. I'm sort of trying to distract him with moves on the queen side so that he doesn't continue making all the excellent moves he's been making in the center. Yeah, and I dislike my position sort of more and more here. It really isn't very nice at all. Really well played game by my opponent so far. And not a well played game by me, I will say that. I think like after knight e4 for instance, I'm just in a heap of trouble. Maybe I can trade down and somehow survive, but like it's just quite bad for me here objectively. Peter's idea of playing anonymously. No, not exactly. Whoa, okay, I just blundered mate in 2, right? Okay. The head is not working out so far. And congratulations to my opponent who played a very nice game. I really was outplayed sort of from start to finish. Once I did not, I think, play more precisely in the opening. And maybe against somebody called the Latvian Gambit, I should not have given the opportunity to play the Latvian Gambit. And yeah, oops is very much appropriate there, blundering rook e1, or actually even queen e1 mate, but the position already was extremely unpleasant, and yeah, I did not really enjoy what was going on in that game at all. And we've dropped below 3000, which is unacceptable. If this continues, I might take a break for like a minute and come back with the normal look, because I have a feeling the whole head thing is kind of dragging me down. I think that's sort of the intended line here. Just blame everything that will potentially go wrong in this stream on the head. I think that sounds like a fairly decent approach. Seriously? This shouldn't work, right? Because I end up just being a up a pawn here. That's just... come on, that's uncalled for. Bin and Darf. That's just completely uncalled for. I don't think I deserve that just yet. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate to be playing queen b3 here, but I think it's the best move, so I'll make it. It's slightly against the spirit of the opening, but we have been given a healthy extra pawn in the center, so simplifying does make a ton of sense. Yeah, and I'll keep the bishop if allowed. He could have played in this position knight a5, sorry, in this position. He could have played knight a5, and there's a trap. If I take on b6, ab, and the bishop goes somewhere, he has this very nice tactical shot, knight b3, using the pin along the a file, and that wins the exchange. So I would have to give him the exchange on c4. But now that he hasn't done this, I'm perfectly okay keeping my wonderful light squared bishop here. Paul Border is Russian for collector of hats. Dodgy knows. Dodgy knows pretty much everything, the feeling is. It really is exceedingly hot in this outfit. This may have been a mistake for this reason, because the plan is actually to visit some friends afterwards, and it might become more difficult because of just how unbearably hot this outfit is. And I don't mean hot in a good sense. I thought I actually captured this bishop on d3, which is why I went for this entire sequence. Well, I mean, capture is maybe strong, but I will be able to trade a knight for it. Yeah. You've learned something today, Sichuan beef, right? And I'm pretty sure the person who suggested that is basically going off of my declared fondness for monkey dust, which has a whole new sequence of... It's basically a running gag in the show about the first-time cottagers. But yeah, not the intended look. Yeah, and I probably should not have. Yeah, this might make this difficult, somewhat problematic for like potential publishing on YouTube and things. But we blame chat, right? We don't actually blame me for anything here. I think I'm supposed to play bishop e6 actually. I think bishop e7. I'm sorry, I mean, this is a mistake. Because now if he goes f4, I've sort of committed to something I did not want to commit to. Yeah, king h1 is a bit of a... yeah, we actually end up in this position, because if I play queen c7 here, there is this f5, bishop c4, g4 idea, which is extremely strong. And should not be allowed. Peter already regretting life choices. Well, Peter has been regretting life choices for probably longer than you've been alive. I'm kind of taking a wild stab at your age there, Joe Breaker, but I feel reasonably safe in that assumption. So yeah, nothing new there. Required outfit for all future chess games. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work out. Can we slow down Anish's pace of speaking? Pretty sure this is not possible. And I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't want to. I think he is absolutely brilliant, and I think for him in particular, because this is a part-time job for him, much more than it is for me. For me, it really is quite a serious potential second career, and any kind of an attempt to make him do things in a less natural fashion, I think I just completely misguided. We should enjoy him in all his, you know, blaze and glory. And yeah, it is exceedingly hot in this. It's just very, very difficult to do this for any length of time, but I will try. Are you buying Sasha's poker debts, Grandma? The thing about Sasha is he does not have poker debts. This is a very, very large difference between him and me, for instance. He is an actual winning player. Something I was never able to say about myself with any degree of conviction. So, you know, buying his poker debts is not an easy proposition. And I missed queen c4 here. Just completely missed it. And it's a very, very unpleasant shot. Because I cannot take, I will lose the f7 pawn. And also, if I don't take, he will just go bishop b4. So I think I might have to play rook d7 here. but it still seems to hold things together. Yeah, Noli has a very nice suggestion there. You can watch it on YouTube later and put it on half the speed. Yeah, that's one way of dealing with his speed of talking and thinking. Frankly, it's not just the talking. Why am I being such an idiot today? Good grief. I mean, just gave away the e5 pawn for pretty much like no reason whatsoever. And then my opponent returns the favor, obviously, so it will work itself out, but the blundering the e5 pawn bit was extremely unfortunate. First day of strip banter with Peter Svidler. Not happening, and also I will say you do not want that to happen. This is something you very, very clearly do not want to happen. Yeah, here we are obviously completely winning, so. Haven't played splits in a while, so let's do that. But I think I will beat Sasha in the Blitz rematch. It depends on, first of all, obviously it would help me greatly if I didn't try the all dual streamer setup when he is talking and I'm also talking. But secondly, one thing you need to understand about Sasha is that he is not only an exceptionally funny and outrageous commentator on many things. He is also a very, very strong chess player. You may not have known that. And yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone in the world can guarantee a victory against Sasha in a Blitz game. Am I excited by the prospect of the Blitz rematch? I think the answer to that is yes. I think if that happens, I'll be very, very happy. I have no idea what this long castle move is. I have never seen it before. I assume it shouldn't refute what I'm doing, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's just very confusing to me because it's a curious idea, and I don't feel like this should be a thing, but I also can't figure out why it shouldn't be. Because I really wanted for him to take on d5 before I take on d4, because that gives him much easier trades later in the game. But I'm kind of struggling to find a good waiting move in this position, and it's very annoying. Actually, I just like this for white, and it's just very bizarre to me that I have never seen this done before. Feels extremely sensible. I mean, I don't know if it's very good or just playable, but it feels eminently sensible to me. Yeah, now he can take on c6 and he will be better. He can also take on c4 and he will be better. I just don't like the move I made here. Yeah, this is just not great at all for me. But I was very, very confused as to what I should have done there. It is not raining in the studio. Unless it's raining man or something. This is very strange though. Bishop f1 or bishop e2 or, I mean, any move. Why would you voluntarily give me the two bishops here? This choice I do not endorse at all. More or less any other square would have been better. I'm still not better here, I think, because of the fact that I have issues with the squares for the bishop on c8, and also maybe even the immediate knight b5 is an interesting choice. I have a feeling he's probably considering that precisely. But at least I think my problems are all gone. Am I also wearing leather boots? And a free revolver you can get, I think, in the first store in town if you scroll for far enough. I actually think this is quite small. Yeah, this move I don't like because it allows me to avoid the trade of the bishops. Although actually I don't like bishop h6 because yeah, I'm in, very much in two minds about this entire sequence because okay, yeah, I just can't play chess today. Resigning is not out of place here. I will make a few more moves, but really, resigning is not out of place today here, and I feel like I'm slightly disrespecting my opponent by not resigning, but I don't think very many people would have resigned here against me, so I will proceed under that assumption, but yeah. Kind of horrible what I'm doing today. No excuse for most of it. I was so sort of fixated on the idea of not allowing a bishop trade along the long diagonal that I just okay, now I'm not even worse, but okay, whoa! Okay, let's offer a draw here, because obviously I just blundered the rook, and yeah, I mean, this is just like, this is unbelievably bad. Oh my god, what am I doing? Like, rook takes b2 is maybe the worst move I've made in years. And then bishop c3 is quite clearly a mouse slip. So, yeah, that's just not very good, any of that. Yeah, people saying get rid of the ridiculous outfit are probably going to be disappointed. It took me, a serious effort to assemble it. I should last at least, one show. And also, like, I'm not... taking it off here would require, like, an actual pause in the broadcast, which I don't think anybody wants. Yeah, what just happened is a very good question from Peter Made Me Sub. Also, I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to play after bishop d7 and kind of failing. I think it's bishop e2. And after knight g7, I now have knight a3, knight c2. This is another line which I actually learned simply by studying the games of Alexander Grishuk. He was, and I believe still is, exceptionally good at the French advance. Arguably the finest player of the French advance in the last God knows how many years. I am not, on the other hand, as you can clearly see here, because I now have very serious problems just protecting the d4 pawn. I have no idea what I'm doing today. Like, absolutely none whatsoever. What the hell am I doing today? This whole g3f, g3h4 sequence was just completely wrong. I could have played knight e3, but I wanted to go for some kind of a maximum, and that ended up, leading to this position, which is kind of lost. I mean, I could have given up the d4 pawn, but that also is quite bad. Not that this position is good. This position is, like, unbelievably bad for white, obviously. But I think preserving the center intact it gives me a better fighting chance compared to giving up the d4 pawn. And here, like, if I somehow manage not to collapse in the center, my position might be like halfway manageable. But I mean, it's very difficult to somehow make sure that black never plays e6, e5. And then I should be in a heap of trouble. First of all, I mean, now that this position is on the board, I would very much like to play h4, h2. Clearly, because of... yeah, I'm just gonna get mated here. Yeah, playing chess is just clearly not my thing today. Because I wanted to play knight d4 here, and now I realize, coming back to the idea of playing h4, h2, queen g6 basically gives mate, which is a bit of a drawback to my original plan. Yeah, and actually I still played knight d4, and now I realize that what I intended to do after knight d4 basically loses by force if my opponent spots it. Today will be a very, very miserable stream by the sounds of it, and this is exactly what I wanted to avoid, frankly. I wanted to play rook f4 here, offering an exchange of yeah, an exchange sacrifice. But the thing is, rook takes f4 picks up a full piece if he finds it. Bishop f4, e4. I'm obviously lost, but this position I maybe can somehow not resign immediately. But if he takes on f4 with the rook and then takes on d4, he just wins a full piece. But basically at that point I had no better options, so I had to go for it and see if he spots it. Whereas this endgame, I mean, it's clearly still completely lost objectively, but I can actually fight in it, if not for the fact that I am also very much down on the clock. This is a monstrous knight on d4, and you know, this actually is like halfway decent compensation for me. Yeah, unless I play, obviously this should not have been played, because I blundered that I don't have mate on the back rank here. Yeah, today is a struggle. I think the best way to describe how I'm playing chess today would be to say that it's a constant struggle for... Yeah, okay, I mean, just resigning here is fine. Just resigning here is completely fine. Bishop b5, rook b5, any move. Any move, any square. Like king f3 would have been nice, but I already blundered one mate and one in these banters, and blundering another one is unnecessary. I don't know why I'm continuing, to be honest. Like, I'm also down 20 seconds on the clock. It's just a completely lost position. Yeah, let's try. But yeah, I mean, I will just get flagged. This is an improvement. This position is already a very large improvement, but I will get flagged here. Yeah, let's just resign. I mean, I don't really deserve to make a draw in this game, so let's not wait until we lose on time. But yeah, if we go back to have some educational value here, I'm pretty sure I'm okay up to here. And here I can play bishop d3, for instance. It's a very normal move. Or I can play knight e3 and just trade this knight on f5 for the knight on c2. And then I will have the e3 square for the bishop. And white is never much better in these positions, but the white is... it should be always slightly better. But not the way I played it, clearly. Statistically speaking, how many banters does it take to get a one game against a grandmaster? Nobody really knows. I don't think it's... what is this? I think this is people realizing I'm playing exceptionally badly today and, you know, taking tremendous liberties. And now f5, I guess? No? Okay. I thought the whole point was to play f5 and make me play f3 before going for something like what he is going for. This Volga will probably not be particularly kind for him. He probably should play b5 now, but I might even take... okay, I kind of blundered. This exists. But I don't think I need to worry too much about blundering knight b4 here, because I will just give this exchange and the knight on d6 has no squares. Maybe b5 now. This is very mystifying. Am I not just completely winning after? Yeah, let's castle. Let's not get involved with this. I mean, I could have played d5, knight f5 and taken twice, but I think doing sort of exactly the same on the next move is going to be it's only going to improve. And here I think I should be able to just completely dominate. I haven't really done very much wrong in this game, and Black definitely took a very, very large number of liberties. My feeling is he has to play something like d6, but I don't really see how he justifies it after, let's say, even e takes d6. I can also go for mates, and yeah, this... Also, I can probably win this queen somehow, but I don't really even want to. I think this is just such an overwhelmingly good position that I don't really want to even start calculating variations. I don't have to, and I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Where is this queen going? I will repeat my question. And again. And here we can actually pick it up. I think it's probably good enough. I mean, it's not the most beautiful way of playing this position, but it's serviceable, right? Candidate master radio Paul Borda. Well, people have been sort of crying to get radio Paul Borda for ages and ages, and I guess this is the closest they will come. I mean, it's still me being extremely salty about losses and playing horribly, but at least the look is different. Yeah, I mean, I did not know what that remark about the different species was, but now in context I can sort of understand. And yeah, I generally don't do it this way. I generally start with the somewhat stronger challenges. There will be some lower rated challenges at some point in this banter, but because it's shorter, I feel like there really shouldn't be very many. You can see Peter is tilted when he pre-moves in the middle game. I think that's a very good observation, Renaud. I think that's more or less exactly how it works. In a completely winning position and 2 minutes on the clock, if you see me starting to pre-move in those cases, you can probably quite safely assume I'm tilted out of my skull. Pre-moves are the cause and result of tilt. No, I don't think, like in my case, they really aren't, because I don't actually do them very much. And because of that, I don't think they cause tilt, simply because like they're not, they don't happen often enough for me to get tilted from them. This is a very serious option, and I kind of need to consider my reply here. I mean, I can go knight f5 and then maybe something like h5 and pretend I have threats or something. Yeah, let's go with this. This is a typical Taimanov/Paulsen type situation, where you have to give white the option of occupying the e4 square. And it doesn't feel great, but you always will get some counterplay around it if you do it properly. Yeah, and here, I mean, the temptation to go h5, h4, knight g3 mate is like extremely strong. So I will not try to fight it. He obviously has more than one way of stopping it. First of all, I mean, he can take on f5 and then, well, maybe not immediately, but let's say he goes knight e4. I probably go h4. He can take on c5. Knight g3 is not mate yet because in the end of that line, after queen takes c5, he will have bishop e3. Okay, or he can do this, takes, and knight e4 here. And once again, the bishop even probably has to go to e7 and not b6, because I think I need to keep a closer eye on the d6 square. But this is an extremely typical typical structure where black normally is just fine. And also, like, I will ask him to consider what he wants to do with this pawn on h4 here. Did I blunder something? I thought this wasn't winning anything, because queen b5, queen e4, queen b8, queen bishop d8 is fine for me. And then the queen can return to c6 later. And the king often just kind of takes this slow artificial castling by going king f8, g6, king g7, because the rook is doing quite well on h8, at least for the time being. And yeah, as people started mentioning the Chess24 premium members, I think it's time for me to do the whole sellout thing and remind you people that today actually is Black Friday, and because of that, Chess24 is running a promotion, and you get 40% off if you use the voucher code Black-Friday. And until somebody corrects me, I will continue calling it a hyphen. I'm pretty sure it's not a hyphen, but yeah, come at me. And here, I mean, once again, this is, it feels slightly bad to be doing this, but I am winning a full pawn here for not very much, so I will go with this. Yeah, if in that line, castling is fine. Let me. I just saw something in there, and now it's gone. It's just like if you scroll aggressively, then the challenge you want to accept just disappears. And whoops, sorry. What? Yeah, I do not mean to scroll this. Even my scrolling today has abandoned me. Stop. Come on. Yeah, there it is. The horse. Let's whistle for the horse. And we do appreciate all the people actually going premium, whether it's right now or at any point, because the support of people who actually subscribe to the services here is what makes the machine run. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, like all of my faculties are abandoning me one by one. It's a hyphen, Peter. Thank you. You have reignited my will to live, at least for the next 5 minutes. 40% off Peter's rating. That is a good point. That is sort of how it's going today. And I'm trying to get some kind of knight e3, knight f5 here, which should at least give me some play on the king side. For just 10 euros a month, you can find you can help an impoverished German GM escape from London. Yeah, that should be a lifetime goal for all of us. So we actually managed the the first part of the plan. The second part of the plan here will be to explain to myself why I wanted the knight on f5 so badly. I guess it contains, first of all, knight d7, I wanted to say allows knight d4 and I actually pick up some material, I think. And that's the consequence of playing b7, b5. I don't think you need it to drive my... Like in this position, the knight will go to e3 and f5 anyway. So helping it along its way, in particular by a move like b7, b5, which is very, very weakening, is not great. What is that on your head? It is called a Stetson hat. And it is an actual Stetson. It says so on the label. And to all the people who are worried about my mental health, those worries are not entirely unjustified. But I want to reassure you that this probably will be the first and last time that I wear the hat, and we bought it for our son, who is a very big hat aficionado, or at least he thinks he is. So he will be wearing this to school, which is arguably even worse, but that's the intended outcome. But I am sort of borrowing it for this one show. For this like completely weird gag that started as a Twitter poll and is now taking on a life of its own. It's not a phase. Yeah, I mean, it's not a phase because it's ending with the end of this banter. This hat is coming off in about 45 minutes time, and it's probably never going to be seen on my head again, which is kind of regrettable because I honestly quite like the look. One of the few things in life that I generally enjoy quite a bit is looking ridiculous on purpose. Okay, this one is a non-starter. And I think this hat makes me look ridiculous, and that's sort of exactly the intended outcome. So I'm quite happy with it. But it's not mine. It will belong to my son. Yeah, hat way over jacket. Do you mean this jacket or the one that everybody hates that I normally wear? I really, really like this coat. It's not a jacket, it's a coat, and I really like this coat. And I also really like the hoodie that gets a ton of hate, both on Twitter and in chat here, and I think it's entirely unjustified. I don't think it's a bad hoodie. Neckbeard. I never really had an issue with the word neckbeard until I saw a post by Patrick Rothfuss, I believe on Facebook, which was very, very sharply critical of the use of the term neckbeard. Okay, I'm playing against somebody who actually knows theory, and I feel like this is completely unfair. And why would you know theory in the King's Gambit? Like, why? In particular, why against me would you know theory against the King's Gambit? But these things happen. Okay, coming back to the previous point. Patrick Rothfuss, who has the most... I don't think he will get very offended if I say his beard is maybe the most outrageously strange beard in modern literary fiction. He at some point said something on the topic of people using the word neckbeard, which more or less amounted to, please don't, and I will ban you if you do. And because I think whatever Patrick says basically goes, I trust his opinion on most things. I have since been kind of critical of people using the term neckbeard. Okay, my opponent continues offering me this rook on a8, and at some point you just gotta ask yourself, why are we not taking it? There really is no earthly reason for me not to take it here, I feel. Yeah, thank you, Yggdrasil. That's what I wanted to hear. It's actually surprisingly not as straightforward as all that. I mean, I will still take, but he does get a reasonable amount of play there for the things, which is quite annoying. Also, I'm not sure why this knight g5 move is made. Like, bishop takes d5, I want to play queen d3, and then I want to take on f4, but I have a feeling I'm basically now sort of playing to lose instead of playing to win, but I can't stop myself. I have sort of settled on this, and this is now like a train wreck in slow motion, which you can only watch. If he takes on g2, I thought I can take on d6, but actually bishop takes f1 comes with a tempo. I might be better in the resulting endgame, but once again, this is not what I aimed for. And sort of blunders in every move seems to be an overriding theme of today's show. But also bishop c4, as I now realize, is a move I completely missed. h6 is not a move I completely missed, but connected with bishop c4 it also is. So yeah, not the best little period of the game. And now I'm wondering if I can take on f5 and justify it somehow. Because knight f3 or frankly knight anywhere bishop c4 is clearly what my opponent wants, and he is not wrong. It's very, very playable for him. Yeah, let's go for this. I mean, it's not correct, but it feels more fun, so I will just once again, fun should be the overriding idea here. Rook f8 makes some sense, but then I think he should take with the queen and then go queen f4, and I don't like the queen landing on f4. So I'll go with this. If I can get some kind of b3 and c4 in, which I think is extremely unlikely, I will start liking my position again, but yeah, I don't think it happens. I need to get h2, h3 in as a matter of some urgency here. Although maybe I can actually include rook takes a7 and then go h3. Yeah, now I'm okay. Now I think I am okay. Because I have things reasonably under control. And also, obviously, my opponent is under severe time pressure here, and like my position is now winning, and also I have more time, which is unusual. Yeah, fezzes are cool, which brings to mind, obviously, the eternal classic, I ain't never gonna do it without the fez on, which is also something that about 2 people in chat will recognize. And you do get a high five from me if you do. I had mate in about 3 there, did I? Okay, I mean, when your position is as winning as all that, you kind of stop calculating. And this line is supposed to be a forced draw, but once again, like I am playing somebody rated over 3000. So, I mean, you can make an argument for, you know, a forced draw being something I should be quite happy about, but I don't know if chat will buy this. And yeah, on the subject of Joe Root and tosses, that's quite a run that he's had. and Maharishi wins a high five. I think you're supposed to start with d3 here. I think it's actually kind of important that you start with d3 here for reasons unexplained. I guess because if he goes d3 here, I can actually take on b5 and be reasonably happy with life. So the theory, I think, goes d3, cd3, knight b5, queen b7, c4, and there has already been a number of games that went like this and ended in a draw. So this is the why the entire rant about this line being a forced draw. No problem, Henry. And yeah, because cd3, c4 is a forced draw, I will be taking on b5 because, you know, jokes aside, I do not, you know, I'm perfectly happy continuing to play. I don't really need to make a forced draw in this game. Okay, here, I mean, I can play e5. e5 in this structure, in particular because of how stuck the knight on f3 is really not that horrible. But he will play something like bishop e3, knight d2, queen e2. So I'm not sure it's great, but maybe I don't even have a sensible choice. So let's do it. I did miss bishop g5 though. And now I need to figure out just how worried I am by this. Maybe actually not that worried. The king should be quite safe on e7. And we will have enough pressure against the b2 pawn not to have to worry about anything. I would actually maybe even go back to e3 here. I don't think this trade is particularly advantageous for white. I think my opponent played bishop g5 because he thought it will stop me from castling, but I don't really need to castle in this position. I'm perfectly fine sort of playing this way, playing for kind of slow long-term positional pressures. I'm not sure about queen a4, but I saw this move, and once you see it, it's very difficult not to make it, kind of thing. I'm not sure if it's the best move in the position, but it definitely works. I mean, I'm slightly better here. The question is if you can actually win this with black or not. But I'll give it a shot. I think I actually pick up the pawn on b2. And then we play something like knight e3 might be quite sensible here. Actually, I missed knight e3. Yeah, knight e3 solves all of his problems, unfortunately. Or maybe this does as well. Yeah, I should not have played. I mean, I had the move rook before here, but I wanted more, and there's just more is not available here. It's kind of regrettable because I basically have to take a draw now, more or less. Not that once again, this is an opponent I already played earlier, and my score against him is 0-1. So it's not as if, you know, a draw against this guy is bad for me. He clearly is a very decent player, but at some point I thought maybe I can get more, but seems like I cannot. Yeah, let's just make a draw here. Yeah, if he goes knight d6, I will just take and offer a draw. I don't think I should be going for some fancy stuff. Yeah, I mean, once again, somebody who plays very well and also knows a decent amount of theory, so reasonably okay with this result. I won rating with this result, so... and I have a challenge from somebody who won a mug. I remember this this nickname from one of our shoutouts to people who won a mug during the World Championship rounds. So let's continue congratulating Krishna Takushagar. Thank you, Sir Pounds. I mean, it was a perfectly sensible game. I think maybe I could have pressed a little bit at one point, but in general, just a very reasonable, quite well played game. Some people have all the luck. Yeah. Never lucky, baby rage. It's a mugs game. People are having a ball there with all the puns. Okay, it doesn't seem to be starting, so maybe not all the luck. Only some of the luck. Okay, I promised some of the lower rated challenges. What shall we do? We shall play d4, d6, which is something I haven't done in ages, but I used to play this actually quite seriously in my younger years. Knight fd2 I feel is slightly less precise than knight g5, because after knight g5 black actually has to deal with the weakness of the square e6 in many lines, and it is a lot more passive on d2. Not that it's a bad move, but I think it's less precise. And also via h3 it very often will settle on the f4 square, and clearly f4 is more active than b3. Play sharp and crazy. Well, I think you're mistaking me with somebody. Yeah, I'm not sure about this move though. I'm also very unsure about the move I just made, if we are entirely honest with ourselves here. I think it's basically a blunder. I somehow assumed he has to take with the pawn and not the knight. I have no idea why I assumed that. It feels like an insanely wrong assumption. But okay, I mean, you've seen me play today. You should not be surprised. But yeah, this is just very poor. Knight a4 is quite strong. I suspect knight db5 also makes a ton of sense, but that at least will give me some chances to mix it up somehow. But mainly knight a4, driving the queen away from b6 and then continuing to develop is what worries me the most here. Yep. Correct you are, sir. Correct you are. I'm doing this weird queen dance, hoping to prompt him to kind of deviate from the chosen strategy, but actually, yeah, okay, knight c3 here is maybe the first sign that my opponent is not playing absolutely perfectly, because I thought knight db5 followed by bishop a3 was extremely strong, but this move is also, I mean, perfectly reasonable. There's nothing wrong with it. And I really hate my position, which is why I will do something which probably comes close to losing, but I seriously hate my position here, and like I'm very prepared to go for more or less broke. And I don't think he should have avoided the challenge I offered. He could have taken on d5 quite safely. There was no refutation as such. It's just that I need the bishop on e7 to start breathing. And this is why c takes d4 was so horrible, because I ruined my structure and I did not get my bishop to a good square. But now I'm okay, I think, because after queen d2 I have queen b6, and do I? I don't. Damn. Or maybe I do. Like, it's very curious there, but I think maybe I survive at the end of that line. Like, it's very questionable. I wanted to play queen b6, but then he goes knight d5, knight d5, queen d5, check. I go bishop e6, he goes queen a5. I can take on e3 with a check. He goes king h1, rook f7, rook d1. I'm probably actually much worse there, but also I don't think I have a better choice. How many challenges at once do I get during Banter sessions? I never counted, but I would say probably 50-ish at any given time. The reason I decided to eventually go for it anyway is that after rook d1 I think I can go bishop c5 and maybe my position doesn't collapse as such. But neither is it any good, frankly. g4 is a very logical move, but one of the points of bishop c5 was that I can maybe play bishop f8 if I have to. I can also maybe just... No, if I take he goes f5, this would be bad. So I think I... Yeah, no, I think I'm very much in trouble here. Maybe I can do this. With the point of gf bishop d7. And just generally creating a threat of bishop d7, wanting to smoke out the queen from good diagonals. And okay, now I'm winning because queen d5 is a very large blunder, and also g5 was probably not ideal. So this worked out for me, but probably somewhat undeservedly. Is Peter or Piotr? I mean, my name is Piotr, but the sound you're supposed to make there is not very natural, I think, for non-Russian speakers. And I really don't mind being called Peter. I mean, this is what people have been calling me for donkey's years. So, I mean, if Peter works for you, I don't mind, it's my name, but Peter is just fine. No, this is not a trench coat. It's a very short leather jacket. It's also, or at least it used to be until it's now kind of, the color has faded a little bit, but it's actually not black. It's kind of bluish, like I don't know, emerald type color, which is something that attracted me greatly to this bit of apparel when we were buying it. I don't know why I continue playing the dragon against people who actually know what they're doing in the dragon. It does not feel like a particularly wise choice, but it's just something to do, I guess. Have I ever had a wild haircut, like Grishuk, for instance? Do you mean his dreads that he was wearing at some point? No, like, the wildest haircut I ever had, I think, is the one I have now. Like, I used to just sort of cut the you know, kind of shorten it every like month or month and a half or so, and I wore it exactly the same for, I think, maybe something like 20 years. And then I thought maybe try shorter, and now it's generally a lot shorter on the sides and, you know, resembles human hair. So I quite like how it is right now, but that's about as wild as I go. And it's not very wild, honestly. Yeah, I mean, c4 is close to winning on the spot, I guess, but I mean, there's always some counterplay. But once again, if you don't play c4 in a position like this, why are you playing chess? Quite clearly, bishop f8 in this position is not the prescribed. Actually, I think I'm supposed to play bishop c4, bishop e6, knight e4. I think knight e4 is a mistake, but bishop f8 in reply is clearly not, I think, the prescribed way of doing things. Elki's haircut would be smooth on Peter. I don't know about that. No, I think Elki is Elki is way cooler than, you know, anything I could ever hope to be. And this is not, I'm not trying to give mate, this is actually a defensive operation, because the knight did not really have a good square on the queen side. So I'm putting it on g5 to also remind black that he has a king, and I can play against it. So it's actually like a defensive move, the whole queen h6, knight g5. Why you and indeed Grishuk did not play in the last Olympiad? We sort of covered it. Okay, that was in Russian language. When I was doing the St. Louis coverage for the St. Louis Chess Club, one of my dreams for that job was to get Grishuk in the studio, and in my guise as a chess commentator, ask him. So Alexander, I wanted to ask you a question, which all of our viewers, very much are interested in. Could you please give us some insight as to why you are not part of the Olympic team? And do this with with a very serious like poker face, not like giving away anything. And I thought maybe he will start giggling, because clearly there's some kind of a joke in there, in the fact that the person asking is also not picked for the Russian Olympic team. But he just gave me such a straight-laced answer to that. He just said, the selection committee picks the team, and they picked a very strong team, and I think they have a very good chance of doing well, and I wish them all the luck. And I felt so let down. It just felt like such a betrayal that he did not go for like any comedy in reply to that question. But I mean, an honest answer would be that there is as somebody already pointed out correctly, there is incredible strength in depth in terms of Russian chess. And secondly, quite simply, we were not picked because there are other options, and those other options are what the selection committee has gone with. Whether it was a correct decision or not is once again not for me to judge. The first time I was not picked for the Russian Olympic team was in 2012, when in 2011, I won the World Cup and also the Russian Championship with a round to spare. And then I was quite severely hurt by not being picked. It did not feel good, and it made me quite significantly unhappy. But I have sort of gotten used to the idea of occasionally not getting picked for the Russian Olympic team, and it doesn't really affect me as much as it used to. Queen c7 followed by g5. I have no idea if it's good or not, but I wanted to prevent the bishop from landing on c4. I think it's quite an important strategic idea here, and not to give him the bishop to c4 and then b3. And obviously the bishop on f8 has to be developed somewhere. So I have also done that. And I think my king will be kind of safe enough somewhere around f8, e8, those types of squares. I'm not sure I need to bring the queen on to e5. Actually, now that I look at it, I have a feeling it's just a mistake, and the queen might actually get somewhat trapped there. In particular, if let's say he goes rook h1 here, I might either consider taking on c3, or here it's a bit different because it has to take with the pawn, and I also have a move to make, so maybe I can justify what I'm doing a bit better. I would like to play rook takes c3 here, but I will wait for one more move. If he goes queen f1, I will take on c3, and if he goes queen e2, I have bishop d4. And this should be very comfortable for me. I could have taken on c3 more or less at any point in that line, but I think this is just very good for me, and I don't need to. I can take on yeah, actually I think I probably should take on f5, or maybe not. I missed that knight e4 is possible because bishop f5 is met by knight takes d6. Actually, I'll do something weird. I'll play g4, g3 here because I think I need to create some things for him to worry about, and it also lengthens my my g file for the rook, so to speak. I did blunder bishop e2, but well, not blunder. I actually saw bishop e2 coming, and then I allowed it anyway, which is slightly bizarre. Yeah, I think I'm not playing this right, to be honest. f6 is a very, very ugly move to make, but I really want to play rook g4 next move. He still has bishop e2 there. Yeah, I think I'm misplaying this quite badly. Yeah, I really don't like the way I played the number of last moves. Like many of my recent choices, I feel are quite inexplicable. I should have been much better, and first of all I chickened out from the positional sacrifice on c3, and then I miscalculated a number of things, and yeah. How I got from there to here is beyond me. Yeah, this is the one thing that shouldn't work for him, because allowing my rook to settle on h2 is, well, quite obviously not great for him, because I mean it will just stay there forever. This setup is just completely unshakable. I mean, it's just resignable for him now. Okay, I'm going to lose on time. I did not realize I was going to lose on time. Okay. Thank you for not continuing to flag me from here. I think. Okay. I'm actually not behind on the clock anymore. That's kind of relevant. Chess question: do noob patzers need to do all the d4 things before moving to c4? And could said noob patzer get away with c4 without hindering development, such as it is? Very much depends on the patzer in question. But I always felt that if we're talking about development and things, getting very thoroughly acquainted with the one e4 things is where major development is, because of just how varied the structures and the types of games you will get after one e4. But choosing between one d4 and one c4, I don't think you absolutely have to go through all the one d4 things before switching to c4. Yeah, and on the subject of the dodgy, a little bit of dodgy stats there in chat, I can't remember if Alexander actually told this story on air here, or if this was somewhere else, about him. He was the part of the Olympic team starting from, I think, 2000, I want to say. So he won in 2000 and 2002, and he thought, okay, the record holder is Tigran Petrosyan, and he won it 10 times, and I am sort of on course to be a more decorated Olympic veteran than Tigran Petrosyan by the time I get to like 35 or whatever the age is. And we never won again. And he said that he kind of blamed himself for that, but now that we also did not win without him on the team, he no longer feels that he is, you know, the root cause of the curse. And the reason I went g4 here was that I wanted to do this. And because I wanted to do this, I will do this, because like, I think this should be the basis of all your decisions. Monkey won't, monkey go for it. Yeah, gf bishop g4 is a problem, so I'll do this instead. And here I'm quite seriously fighting against d6, d5. I want to allow d6, d5 as late as possible, because that actually gives black a tremendous source of counterplay. But I mean, even if I do allow g5, king h1, rook g1 should give me some very, very serious initiative on the king side. Yeah, I mean, this last Olympiad, if we're still talking about the last Olympiad, and I mean, the argument that Poland got desperately unlucky, I can definitely get behind. Poland played a fantastic tournament, and the fact that they ended up getting absolutely nothing for it feels like a bit of a travesty. Peter is a honey badger. He does what he wants. Yeah, it works. It works that way in some respects, not in every single respect, though. If bishop g4 wasn't there, bishop takes f7 and knight g5. Not with the pawn on h6, I think. I mean, in general, you're making a very good point, but I think the way the pieces were positioned, it did not quite work out for me. And here, like, already you get the feeling I should be giving mate, but I will postpone all the sacrifices because I think doubling on the g file is just effective enough. And yeah, now we can sort of come in and start collecting. If he goes queen f8, rook h3 just wins on the spot. So I think I win the knight on h7 at least. And yeah, this is just mate now. Alright, so it is 17:20. I will play either one or two more games today. As I mentioned, this will be a shorter stream than normal because we do have some evening plans. This is the last evening I have with my wife while she's in Hamburg. She flies home tomorrow, so this will impact the amount of games I will play on stream. Is Kasparov justified in his somewhat harsh criticism of Magnus so far? Kasparov is, you know, you should generally trust whatever he says on chess subjects. I think this rule will never really lead you too far astray. Okay, if I go knight e3, I think he wants to go bishop takes b7 and bishop takes a8, and it probably works. So I think I should reconsider. What's your impression of Mamedyarov's rise lately? He just matured beyond belief. He was always, I mean, we all knew that he is an extremely gifted natural player. There's no surprise there. No one can, you know, legitimately claim to be shocked by the fact that he can play chess. But he also started working a lot more. He also made some personal choices, which I think helped him a great deal. In particular, you know, I'm not kind of telling any tales out of school here if I say that, I mean, he himself credits a lot of it to the fact that he basically stopped drinking. So, I mean, he said that in an interview with me in St. Louis, so I feel kind of okay saying that myself. So he simply put, he just takes chess a lot more seriously now than he used to. And with the amount of natural talent that he has, it really isn't, you know, such a shock that he is doing well now. It's slightly sad to be going knight g6 until it gets chased away, but I mean, my position in general is slightly sad because like, the plan was very, very different to what I ended up having to do. The plan was to go bishop b4, knight e3, and then I realized it's just not feasible. So I ended up here, and by here I mean in a position which is quite clearly worse, and also objectively probably quite cheerless. In particular, if he doesn't hurry, just goes queen d2, rook a d1, because I have to worry about knight b5, apologies. If I play a6, I have to worry about knight a4. It really is a very, very sad type of position. Just rook a d1 here is very strong. He doesn't really need to start calculating. I mean, I can't really force him to take any kind of difficult decisions here, which is a big issue. This way, at least I covered the d7 pawn somewhat sufficiently by going queen c7 and rook a d8. Raiders of the Lost Rating. People are on fire today. And I don't just say that because I'm a horrible sellout. I really do enjoy the community we seem to have built on Chess24 and people I see in chat, and it cheers me up to talk to you guys, if we can classify this as talking. It is interesting to see that Peter sometimes gets the same crappy positions that as me/us. Well, yeah, I mean, I am playing what I think are, I mean, it would be fair to describe this as not really my openings, and I'm not also playing them particularly well, if we are honest with ourselves here. I probably should have taken, but it's a very miserable endgame if I take. And again, 92 maybe lets me off the hook a little bit. Or maybe not, maybe it's just perfectly fine. Yeah, I don't know why I was criticizing this move, it's a perfectly reasonable move. Blunder knight b7. Luckily for me, I don't have to resign because I have queen h5 there. But that was a very close shout. And I cannot play knight f5 here because takes and rook takes e6, and also I need to start playing faster. Yeah, this is not going well. This is not going well at all. Okay, now we are kind of completely lost. I forgot I need to create counterplay against g3. Yeah, okay. I think resigning here is not unreasonable. Yeah, this is a well played game by my opponent, but once again I kind of let the clock get out of hand a little bit whilst also talking to the people in chat. I mean, this is unpleasant, but I think it kind of improved somewhere around here. I think my position is no longer completely lost. But I just couldn't figure out a way to kind of keep it under control on the one hand, and also to play fast enough to keep with the clock pressure. Okay, one more and we're done for today. No, I mean, it's not really banter odds. I know what I'm signing up for when I do these things. It's not like this should shock me or anything. It's not a complaint that I have to talk while my opponents don't. This is like the entire nature of what we're doing here. But you know, some days I do it better, and some days I quite clearly do it worse. The reason I'm playing knight g5 here is that I want to have the knight on e4 and not the pawn once everything gets traded, or at least I want to do it in a fashion that is at least to my eyes sort of, I want to have the better version of that position, but I'm not sure I needed to play this move. This is a weird line which people have been playing kind of consistently against me, and not really without. I mean, it's definitely a very sensible way of playing the anti-Berlins for black. I've won a very nice game against Ernesto in Kyiv, which is, you know, the one big highlight of me playing this line with white. But apart from that, I haven't had too much success. It's interesting that he's doing it this way, though. I'm not sure. I probably would have taken the other way. But now I can sort of see the point of what Lucas is doing here, because he ended up having this setup which is quite comfortable. And in particular, I have to watch out for him pushing e5, e4 in a favorable situation. On the other hand, if I get, let's say, to play g3, rook fe1, a4, king g2, like all of my strengthening moves without actually allowing any of the immediate counterplay, I should be quite significantly better. And this structure change should favor me quite significantly as well. First of all, I don't really understand why I shouldn't take on b7. Like, it's a very, very serious option here for me, which I don't know how it is refuted, so I'll just do that. It's an important pawn, because obviously, like, it's not important yet, but it's important for me to be ahead, to have something to show for it, because clearly, you know, the drawing tendencies of opposite color bishop positions are very, very strong. Okay, I saw this, but I didn't think it works. But it actually works. This is kind of brilliant by my young opponent. Because there's queen takes c4 there in the end, and if I go to g4, I'm pretty sure I get mated. This is really, really well played by Lucas. Like, do I want my final game today to be a forced mate to the king on some stupid squares? Probably not. Let's not do that. Yeah, now we're clearly not better anymore. I mean, there can be no doubt that we're not really better anymore, but he still has to watch out for some g2, g3 ideas. This position is not as rotten for me as it might look. And I might still be better in endgames, which could eventually become relevant. But yeah, this is a very, very nice shot by Lucas. Full credit goes to him. King f2 e1. Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. Hang on. I need to calculate. I'll show you all of those tactics later. Yeah, just g5 here. No, this is a mistake. I'm pretty sure this is a pretty large mistake by him, because this endgame might actually be quite tricky. Yeah, this is bad. This is quite bad for him. All right, and just to kind of show you what was happening there, I think in this position no, hang on, it was much earlier. Here. Yeah, I could have played a different move here, but once well, not missed, but probably misassessed this. If I go king e1 here, he goes rook fe8, I go king d1, for instance, and he takes on c4, and this pin is very, very dangerous. Well, not dangerous, I mean, I'm just kind of lost here. And I actually kind of half-seriously considered going for this, because I do threaten to play queen f3 next move and then king h3, and there will be no mate. But at the very least, I think black has a perpetual here with the rook d6, g6, h6, and so on. And also, something like h5 check here might actually be mate for all we know. I mean, it's very difficult for me to judge on the fly. And people were also pointing out there was bishop takes f7 and rook takes e3. I actually saw that, but in this position black can take not the rook, which would allow queen takes f7, but black takes the pawn on c3, and then he's just completely fine. So I went for this endgame, and as I said, g5 followed by gf4. It looks ugly, but it keeps my rooks completely boxed in, and I think this is a much bigger thing to watch out for than than the keeping the structure intact. And d4 in this position, black just takes on c4, my a2 pawn is hanging, and rook b8 is a threat. I don't think I'm better here. I think in terms of continuing to play for a win, my move king h1 was stronger. Is my wife a chess player? No, we met when we were 10 in school. And that will be a wrap. I hope you enjoyed it. I started horribly and then ended in a very mediocre fashion as well, but there I think was some decent banter in between, and some of you learned something today, and you probably now are regretting you've learned those things. And on that note, I will say bye to you, and we will meet again, I hope, tomorrow for our coverage of Game 11 of the World Championship, 4 p.m. Central European. And also, if you haven't heard it yet, there is a Black Friday deal going on right now. Using the voucher code Black-Friday, you can go premium for 40% less than it would normally cost you, which I think is a very, very good deal. Thanks for watching, and yeah, see you tomorrow.